So let's get on to our last topic here of the night, how one GOP-controlled committee is waging a war on science. Drew, take it over, brother.
At a March 26 hearing of the U.S. House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology, Republican congressmen took turns attacking President Obama's top science advisor, John Holdren. On climate change, their statements became increasingly heated, accusatory, and bizarre. Southern California conservative Representative Dana Horabacher,
Close
saying that
enough.
right?
Close enough, dude.
Republican from California, challenged Holdren on the fact that about 97% of the world's practicing climate scientists agree that human activity is responsible for climate change. Why can't anybody admit that you've got a group of people out here putting out a bogus figure here, he charged. Representative Bill Posey, a Republican from Florida, noted that the Earth has warmed in between ice ages without any people around. So how could humans be blamed for the current warming? Just because we're alive now, he reasoned, the tectonic plate shifts aren't going to stop. The hurricanes and tsunamis aren't going to stop. The asteroid strikes aren't going to stop. Finally, Representative Randy Weber, a Republican from Texas, an air conditioning company founder from Pearland, Texas, noted to Holdren, a climate scientist and MacArthur's Genius Grant recipient, that I might want to get your cell phone, because if we're going through cycles of global warming and then back to global cooling, I need to know when to buy my long coat on sale. Soon after, a Scientific American headline concluded the committee was becoming a national embarrassment. Since Representative Lamar Smith, a Republican from Texas, took over as chairman of the House Science Committee in the beginning of 2013, the GOP majority has been waging a war. Its enemies list is long. The Environmental Protection Agency, the National Science Foundation, rules that prevent industries from polluting the air and groundwater. Climate scientists studying the effects of a warming planet, the very notion of non-politicizing peer-reviewed scientific inquiry. For years, the House Science Committee was a quiet congressional backwater. Typically, the most contentious battles were over the future of the American space exploration. Smith has changed that. The traditionally collegial committee has been pursuing a more aggressive and party-driven agenda, one that's closely aligned with the GOP's relentless promotion of the fossil fuel industry. Though critics say Smith's campaign has been scattershot and at least somewhat dysfunctional, they're alarmed about what could result from the various bills he's pushed over the last 18 months. The majority of Smith's attacks on science use a language of scientific ethics. He recently told the San Antonio Express-News that he employs the gavel to make sure that the president's policies are based upon good science, not science fiction. Smith used the same science fiction line in a February email interview about his campaign, against which he was dubbed secret science. He noted, for example, that requiring transparency is a basic tenet of good government. Yet critics, and there are many, take fundamental issue with Smith's notion of good government. The pushback from the committee top-ranking Democrat Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson, a Democrat from Texas, has been unusually impassioned. Even in this hyper-partisan and on the Republican side extreme era in the White House. In an email interview, she said she's noticed a shift even further to the right under Smith. Even though he took over the conservative former GOP chairman Representative Ralph Hall, a Republican from Texas. 6 of the 22 Republicans on the committee hail from the Lone Star State, more than 1 in 4. Smith's claim that the EPA air quality rules are justified solely on these 2 landmark studies is false. Other researchers from the Health FX Institute, an independent research institution jointly funded by the EPA and the automotive industry in the 1980s to resolve similar disputes about diesel pollution, conducted reanalysis of the results in multiple studies, also confirming the Harvard 6 cities findings. Over the following 20 years, there have since been further reanalysis and confirmation of these studies conducted by the Health Effects Group and other institutions. Meanwhile, laboratory research found cardiovascular effects in animals from inhaled pollutants. Now, the evidence supporting new limits on soot pollution include not only a broad array of epidemiological work, but medical proof on how inhaled soot damage the lungs, heart, and the circulatory system. The toll on American lives was enormous. The city-by-city analysis estimates that approximately 64,000 people may die prematurely from heart and lung disease each year due to particular air pollution.
Dude, I'm
almost done, goddammit.
I'm praying for the
Finish
next ice age.
Let him finish.
Lives are not just shortened by days or weeks, but by an average of 1 to 2 years in most polluted areas. Devers Friends wrote in a report by the National Resources Defense Council published in May 1996. Finally, the EPA during the Clinton administration began moving towards God damn it, Joe. What the fuck, dude? Towards establishing limits on sulfur dioxide and fine particulate pollution based on this research. It was then that the Koch brothers
join the fray. Okay, sorry, Drew.
Wow.
I know I gave you a challenge, guys. I know I gave you a challenge on this one. I know I gave you a lot.
The time I was praying for the next ice age. I was like, "Fuck global warming. Just let it happen. Just let this motherfucker shut up."
Oh God, Drew, that was funny.
Article?
That was
By the
great.
way, we're out of time.
Article.
It had to be said. So after you guys are done, Paul, let's go first.
Yeah, who wants to go first? You got 30 seconds.
Paul. Paul has to go. Go, Paul.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, it's a long article, and there's a lot of stuff actually in the article that is good read. The problem is it's not a new thing that these people have been doing this for years. It's just recently that people really paid attention to it, which is a good thing. If you look at the budgets, Health and Human Services. You have the CDC, the FDA, NST. You have all the sciences, NASA, NSF, all the various foundations. They get pittance compared to defense spending.
Yeah.
And like the NSF, in the article they're attacking the NSF, the National Science Foundation, saying they're attacking it. That only got 4,156 millions in funding compared to 224,000 millions for defense, and they're arguing that the NSF is somehow a waste of money and is a drain. So yeah, I mean it's all about destroying science. Fuck that, and eroding people's knowledge while continuing to fund other things that are somehow funneling money into their pockets. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I do agree with that. TJ, Paul,
I'm gonna go way out on a limb here.
Oh yeah, devil's
and
advocate
agree
again.
with Paul.
Oh, good. See, I think we can all agree with Paul. And look at Paul's face, dude. He's like, oh my God,
shock and awe.
Yeah.
You got anything?
Paul got a shocker,
right?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, Drew.
Yeah. I think. I don't know if I can speak for TJ and Joe here, but I'm pretty sure we've all done extensive videos on our own personal channels about science denial in the Republican Party, and that's kind of one of the interesting things because I had just done a video about the guy, the representative from Florida that said climate change can't be true because humans weren't around when the dinosaurs went extinct or something like that. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, and it's kind of funny because it's been kind of the main thing is they look at it like, well, the Democrats are using science as a political tactic, and it's kind of like they're picking up an anti-science thing. I don't know what the deal is with that.
To be fair, every politician in Florida says something like that. to be fair to us.
Well, you live in Florida, so you would know. So,
dude, we've got Rick Scott as a governor. He literally.
Here we go, TJ rant.
Defrauded Medicare for his company, and we elected him as a governor. It was the biggest fine that has ever been levied. Huge scandal. We turned around a few years later, and we're like, yeah, we'll take him as governor. and he's tried to implement piss tests, drug tests for welfare recipients. And guess who would be running the piss tests? His wife's company. Insane
double dipping
bullshit. So please, when someone says we can't know climate change is real because we weren't there when the dinosaurs went extinct, that's not even the worst of Florida. I mean,
Well,
isn't this where dipshit? Oh, who's the ultimate creationist that everybody steals his videos? It's escaping me.
Hoven?
Ken Hoven. Isn't he here in Florida? I believe he is.
No,
Or
he's
maybe
he's
incarcerated in Florida, you mean?
No.
He
He's in
was
Massachusetts.
charged in Florida, and now it's federal though, so
Yeah.
he's not in Florida.
He's in Massachusetts.
yeah,
Federal
but
prison.
it was in like Pensacola where he lived. So it's all
Correct.
Florida.
It is
Florida,
Pensacola.
Florida. We're crazy fucking people. Don't trust me. I'm from Florida.
Yeah, but the problem isn't really that what they say is nuts. Is that these people who are nuts get into positions of power where they control things, like the people who are on the science committee. You know, the ones that can actually control the future of funding on technology and things like that. They control it without having a basic knowledge or understanding of what the fuck they're talking about. And somehow we don't throw them out of this position, and we keep re-electing them. So it's not it's not so much that they're crazy, it's that we keep re-electing these fucking crazy idiots that have no qualifications.
Yeah.
And we don't seem to care.
The problem with democracy is that it allows stupid people to elect stupid people. And fuck us over. That's the problem with democracy.
Yeah, no,
the problem with democracy is that most people are fucking stupid, and most people is the majority. So most people.
It's
are
not a democracy, anyways.
Things.
It's oligarchy now, anyways.
Anyhow, I'm noticing the time, and I know how long the CUDA report is, so we might want to get that.
Exactly. Drew, do you got anything to say or no? You're good.
No, it's just kind of more the same.
Actually, Drew, I didn't hear what you were the first time you read that. Could you just reread it real quick?
Yeah, you got 15 fucking minutes.
I promise, Drew, I will never do that against you. Okay, I promise. But it was such a great article. I said we have to read it. So
hilarious.
I went into that
like
on trust for you, Joe. I went in that on trust for Joe, and I was reading it. I was like, man, that looks like a lot, but I trust Joe.
You got through it though. I got to give you an A+ on that, dude.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I thought
there were some big boy words there.
Chat and then like cracked up. Fuck.
All right.
No, I'm laughing because TJ has popped up in the side over here, and I can see him laughing his ass off. And I'm like, fuck.
We're all sitting here, dude. I'm looking at Skype, and I'm like, oh my god, it's too funny. At the end,
I'm sitting there like I'm listening, and they're like when the conclusion is starting, and I'm like, wow, it's been going a while, and the conclusion hasn't started yet, and it's going and going. I'm like, damn,
there's only 2 paragraphs,
and I waited like 2 more minutes after I was like, how much longer can this go on? 2 minutes I waited, and then I just started laughing.
Yeah, the conclusion was only like 2 paragraphs. That's it.
Fucking hilarious. Anyway,